Is American citizenship being handed out without meaning anymore? You really need to see this.
The debate over American citizenship usually starts loud, sharp, and political. But if you slow down for a moment, if you step back from the noise, you realize something simple. Citizenship is one of the few things a nation can't afford to treat casually. It's the bond that ties a people together. It's the promise that says, you belong here and we belong to you. And yet, for all our love of country, something important has quietly changed. We've allowed one of the most meaningful parts of national identity to drift into something automatic, something assumed, something granted without any real connection to the American story. Not because we're unkind, not because we're closed off, but because our laws haven't kept up with the world we now live in. So let's take a breath and walk through this carefully. Because the case for protecting American citizenship isn't about shutting people out. It's about honoring something sacred. Now, here's where we need to slow down and look at the foundation. The 14th Amendment gets quoted like it settles everything. But the people who wrote it weren't thinking about modern air travel or global migration or people flying across the world for a single purpose. They were thinking about something much more immediate. They were thinking about Americans who had been denied their rights, men and women who had lived here, worked here, and belonged here, but were not recognized as citizens. And when they wrote the phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, they weren't talking about geography. They were talking about allegiance, full undivided allegiance, the kind that says, I am part of this nation, and this nation is part of me. That's why certain groups were never included: foreign diplomats, temporary visitors, sovereign tribal nations. Because citizenship was never meant to be a souvenir of location. It was meant to be a relationship. Now let's move into something the authors could never have predicted. Today, there are entire systems built around what's often called birth tourism. People travel to the United States for one purpose: to give birth on American soil and return home with a child who now holds U.S. citizenship. No long-term connection, no plan to stay, no real integration into the American story, just a transaction. And that transaction doesn't end at birth. It carries forward into access, education, healthcare systems, future sponsorship pathways, all tied to a country the family may never truly join. At that point, we have to ask an honest question. Is that what citizenship was meant to be? Now, this is where incentives come into play. Policy shapes behavior. Always has. When citizenship becomes automatic, regardless of circumstance, it sends a signal. People respond to that signal. They take risks, they make dangerous journeys, they overstay visas, they trust smugglers, all based on one belief. If they can reach American soil in time, they've secured something permanent. And those decisions don't happen in isolation. They impact real communities. Border towns feel it first. Hospitals stretch to keep up. Schools adjust on the fly. Local systems carry weight they were never designed to carry. And here's the hard truth. No nation can function long-term if its laws consistently reward breaking them. Now let's widen the lens for a moment. The United States stands almost alone in this policy. Most developed nations have already adjusted. They require some form of connection, a parent who's a citizen or at least legally established, not as a punishment, not as exclusion, but as a way to maintain balance between compassion and structure. That's not extreme. It's measured. It's deliberate. And in many ways, it reflects a simple principle. Belonging should be tied to relationship, not just location. Now bring it back to something more personal. Citizenship isn't just a legal status. It's a shared commitment. It means you respect the laws that hold the country together. It means you value the freedoms that generations fought to preserve. It means you see yourself as part of something bigger than your own circumstances. And in return, the country recognizes you, protects you, gives you a voice. That kind of relationship shouldn't be accidental. It shouldn't be automatic. It should mean something. So here's where everything comes together. If we want citizenship to carry weight, real weight, then it has to be protected with intention. Not out of fear, not out of hostility, but out of respect for what it represents. Because a nation that treats citizenship casually will eventually find that it means very little at all. But a nation that protects it thoughtfully keeps its meaning intact. And maybe that's the real point. This isn't about closing doors. It's about making sure that when someone walks through that door, they're truly stepping into something worth belonging to. Because citizenship should never be random, it should never be transactional, it should be meaningful. And protecting something meaningful isn't harsh, it's common sense.
Is citizenship about location or commitment? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Please support the channel by clicking the logo on the left to go to our channel to subscribe, or the screen on the right for your next video. Thanks again.
Your next video is now ready.